Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming.
I've been a long-time admirer of this house. It's
Good.
so exciting to be here today.
Well, I'm excited to give you a tour of it. I think that we should get started by, first, you own your own business here in Des Moines that refinishes and restores old homes.
Yes, so I'm a big old house nerd. So my company is called Hat Trick Restoration.
So with that being said, I'm going to have you walk through the house and kind of talk me through some of the things that you find interesting and inspiring about this home that's different from maybe the other ones, or the originality of this house. I want to know it all.
I would love to, because honestly, one of my favorite things is educating old house owners and old house people about what makes their historic homes special. Because a lot of times you'll have a modern contractor come in and say, oh, you should just replace all your windows, you should replace all your doors, you should da 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 da. No. These houses are so valuable because of the historical pieces that are in them. And I want people to know that I am a resource in the community. I can educate you on your historic home and help you learn how to maintain it yourself, or you can hire us and we'll do the work for you.
I love it. Should we go?
Yes.
Sounds good.
So this is a perfect example of a staircase from the Stick-style Victorian. I love this staircase. This is just it's another piece that would have been lost if this house had been cut up into apartments.
Yeah, I've actually never noticed this. There's a bird on the front of here. So
there is
2 birds.
They're all hand carved.
And they're different on each side.
If you're really wanting to have a beautifully maintained Victorian, like, this is just it. It's such a great example of Victorian style, and it's really breathtaking. This is another opportunity where this is a really easy floor to redo. If you wanted to take up the LVT and put down a historic wood floor, you could easily do that. That's something that Hat Trick Restoration can help you with.
And I do think that when you were here the other day, we looked in this, right, to see if it was still there. And yeah, it is that chaser. It is that the same stuff that's in there. So everything was just laid over the top of that kind of flooring, right?
So you have the original subfloor, and you could either open up the original subfloor and use that as your flooring, or you could get a architectural salvage flooring and put that down, and Hat Trick Restoration would refinish those floors using a tung oil finish, so you could maintain the floor like they used to. This would have all been shellac finished, and this is a very easy finish to maintain. It's very repairable. We have gone to using tung oil based, polymerized tung oil, because it has the benefits of being repairable like a shellac finish, but it's longer wearing. So we really like it for floors and tabletops in historic homes, because you get the historic look, but a modern day maintenance.
So we have the original subfloor down still. What would have been on top of that? And throughout the years, maybe it got hurt or whatever, and so that's why it was removed. But what would have been on top of these original subfloors?
Yeah, so you would have had a wood floor that would have been old growth wood, probably oak, possibly, I'd have to look into the history of this house. Our house lost our original oak wood floors because it had been cut up into apartments. The floors got damaged. So we don't know. And sometimes these old houses, you come in and you just don't know what has happened over the years. So you can look at what it might have been and then try to recreate that. So when we hear about a house that's getting torn down, we'll go in and harvest. One of the first things we do is harvest the wood floors, because they're so valuable. That old growth wood, I wish I'd brought my samples, because I have these 2 chunks of wood, one that's old growth and one that's new that you could like buy at Lowe's or something today. And the old growth wood has rings that are just like lines all smushed together. You can just tell that it's a stronger, better quality piece of wood than what you can buy today. The reason that it's better quality, and you can ask, honestly, my favorite thing is to ask a fireman, which would you rather live in, an old house or a new house? They will always tell you it's an old house, because that wood density means that the house burns more slowly. So you have time to get your family out of the house. There's a health, safety, and welfare part of owning a historic home. It's better built. It's last. I love it when there's a tornado warning because my daughter has a lot of anxiety about it. And I'm like, this house has stood for 140 years of tornadoes. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
So
Not
wood. That is, and rare that you would still find that in this house.
What do you mean by the pass-through?
So this would have been originally a pass-through to the dining room.
Okay.
So this would have been taken out, and this piece would have been open, so you could have passed through from the kitchen into the dining room. Like you'd have your servants preparing meals, and then you'd have this ready to go into your dining room. And the amazing thing about that is we knew we had the ghost image of where this was in our house, but we didn't have the pieces to show where it was. So to find a house with an intact butler's pass-through is really impressive in this neighborhood, because so many of these houses were cut up into apartments after World War II that you just don't see things. When they were cut into apartments, they would take these kinds of pieces out. They would cut, like little notches into the wood trim on the doors to make locks. So it's really unique to find a house like this in such excellent condition. This is amazing to have the original swinging door hardware, because it's really hard to replace this hardware and very expensive. So this is a wonderful piece to still have in the house. The thing that my husband and I love about this house that made us, like, we're still really thinking about buying it. The values in this house, like you've got your original doors to the exterior. You can see outside the footings on the original porch. So if you wanted to restore, there was an original wraparound porch that went from this door all the way around to the front door. And how amazing would that be to have that on your house? You can see on outside, there's where the roof line was. So you could really have an architect or a historian recreate those plans. You've got a lovely wide lot you could build. A 3-car garage with a workspace above it. There's so many different things that you can do in this house that make it really valuable and really great.
And all of the stuff for that porch is preserved in the basement. So
yes,
that is definitely a possibility for the next buyer to be able to put that in pretty easily.
And there are ways that you can get historic tax credits or historic grants to do that kind of work. So there is funding out there. But one of the things that I love about living in the Riverbend, this is actually Riverbend adjacent, because Riverbend ends at the alley between 9th and 10th. So this is kind of like the edge, like you're in the line that bounds Riverbend. It's wonderful that you have your original windows in this house. You have the original storms. That is such a huge investment to put into a house, to redo the windows. These windows all look like they're in great shape. Even if you see like some fraying, that's not even fraying, it's just a thread. When you see an original window, that is the biggest investment, because original windows, they can be maintained forever. A new window, when you put a replacement window in, you're on a cycle of needing to replace that window every 10 to 15 years.
Because it's on the historic registry, anything that's outside facing and that you can see at the street has to stay at its original, right?
Yep.
So the next buyer that comes in here would have to just
keep them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
But I like to educate a historic home buyer into realizing that that is an investment. That's a wonderful thing to have. You don't want to buy a historic house that has already had the windows replaced. They never get them to quite fit right. They're never going to get them. They oversell the R value, the insulation value of the windows, because the insulation comes from the air pocket between the glass. And if you think about it, a piece of glass that's this close together isn't going to give you a lot of insulation value. You've got a couple of inches of air between your storm and your primary window. So that's going to give you a better insulation value. Plus, it was built for the house. So it was made for this house. You're never going to get a better fit than what somebody originally hand carved for this house.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And they're in great shape.
I love this woodwork, and I love that every house has its own kind of signature. I love thinking about the guys that used to come in and build these houses, and think about it, they didn't have power tools. They hand carved
It's impressive.
all of these
You just
pieces.
you don't get this craftsmanship anymore.
Yeah. I've never seen these corner blocks. This is the first time for me seeing this little bamboo accent. So that's a really unique piece of this house. Love this. And these are so hard to find. This place has been maintained immaculately. Like, I have these in my house, but they're all mismatched because they were gotten from architectural salvage, because ours were originally taken out, because ours was one of the houses that were taken out and cut up into apartments.
And this, so these doors, which is unusual for me because when I go into these places, these doors typically don't work anymore. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that these doors still work.
Yeah. So yeah, it's that X mechanism that opens and closes that door. And there was a very short window of time when they went from from floor mounted to the X track to ceiling mounted. And there was like a fight historically, there was a fight at the patent office on who owns the patent for that X-wing. And they were bought out by the people that had the track and the ceiling. So there's a little bit of history there. So that's really cool. We're absolutely not going to walk right by this fireplace because this is another huge find in this house, to have an original fireplace with all of the original tile. To find a piece like this with the original tile intact and all of these carvings, like, it's incredible. And this was so well maintained. I have very dark wood trim in my house, and I asked David Sweet, who's another an old house nerd in this neighborhood. I asked him why it was so dark, and he said it's because at some point the servants in our house got lazy and they didn't take the wax off before putting the new wax on, and it made the wood get darker and darker. So it's lovely to see servants that actually did their job and maintained the woodwork.
Good for these servants. They were good to their
It's a really well-maintained house. It's really incredible. I mean, I was happy to buy my house in this neighborhood, and this house is very tempting to me because there's so much that has been done to maintain this house and so little that has been done to damage this house. I want to talk about the elephant in the room, which is this gray carpet, because I've seen you get comments online about this carpet. And what I want people to realize is this carpet is your best favor. If somebody doesn't have the time or the money or the effort to maintain the wood floors, a lot of times in these houses, the wood floors got damaged over the years. They couldn't maintain them. This floor, I believe when the owner had it, they got down to the baseboards, which are beautiful. And you can take this carpet up and do something like this with the baseboards. But the fact that this carpet is down means that nothing expensive was put over it. So you have the choice to do what you want. You can leave the carpet down. We would probably leave the carpet for a few years. But then if you want, there are places where you can get architectural salvage, wood floors. You could put down a historic wood floor in here, and you could have your historic floor look throughout the whole house. One of the things that my husband and I want to do is when they take down molten, we want to harvest the floors out of that building. And then you could have those floors in here.
Oh yeah, that would be beautiful to be able to bring that original of something else back in here.
Yeah, yeah.
What about the stained glass windows? Are those original to the house?
Yes, those would have been period appropriate. So this is a stick-style Victorian. So a lot of times I had to be educated about stick-style Victorians because you think about Queen Anne and it's very unique and very ornate with, the fretwork. This is a stick-style. So it's a Victorian, but it has more of this kind of blocky, this is a very typical stained glass style of the stick era Victorian.
So from what my seller has told me, this is where the master suite was, and this was the madame's closet. Yeah. Granted, this is a 6-bedroom house because this is considered a bedroom. And these doors are actually upstairs, those white doors that are up there. They belong right here. So those could be put on. However, I don't see in our modern time where someone would put the doors on to make this another bedroom unless they had a lot of kids. But more so using this as a walk-in closet space as it's been used in the past.
Yeah. So one of the things that you can do with this space is make it an ensuite for the primary bedroom. This is one of the main selling points that makes me think about buying this house for ourselves and moving, is that you have water. Typically in these houses, the water is clear at the back of the house. It's really hard to get your drains for a bathroom this far forward in the house all the way back. You have a house that has a drain that's halfway back in the house. So that makes it a lot more possible to make a bathroom in this space. So talk to your professional plumber. I'm not a plumber. I'm just an old house nerd. So, but I think that this is a huge opportunity for a person that wanted to buy this house to have a very fancy bathroom in a very old house.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's enough space for sure.
I love the light fixtures in this house. This house would have been built before houses were electrified. So you won't find an original lighting to the house, but it is appropriate. Like you have to think that it's not like this house was built in the 1880s and then no one ever lived here. So it shows the additions brought in through over the years. So it's wonderful that they've updated to electricity for us.
That is very nice of them. And they kept it within, time appropriate.
Yep.
But
I love that you have more stained glass windows on the second floor. This is just a beautiful piece of architectural history. So the most expensive stained glass are the yellows and the reds. So this is a very hard piece to recreate today.
Why
it's
is
more
that?
expensive because they actually use gold in the coloration of those two colors.
oh wow.
So this is a beautiful piece of glass. I'm very lucky to have it in the house.
Arches and rounded walls are expensive.
Yeah.
So
And honestly, why would you want to buy something new construction when those houses are basically built with planned obsolescence in mind? It's like your iPhone. It's going to become obsolete at some point. This house has stood the test of time already. It's already proved itself. All you have to do is maintain it and it'll last for another 100 years.
yeah. Yeah, and I guess while we're up here and we can point this out, and we will go to the basement in a minute to check out what's going on down there, but you'll notice there are no cracks. There are no foundation issues because this house has been taken care of. And one of the first signs of foundation issues is cracks up here. And there is not a crack in the walls or the ceiling.
And honestly, the best thing about plaster is it's an early warning system. So if you have drywall, you're not going to see the damage before it becomes a major problem. Plaster is something where you'll see if you have water infiltration, which is bad. We don't want water infiltration, but we want to know that we have water infiltration as soon as we have it. So plaster is a great early warning system. Don't be afraid of seeing plaster. It will start bubbling. That means you have water infiltrating and you need to do a roof repair. So that's great. You've got it's basically another early warning system, like your fire detection, your carbon monoxide detector. If you have plaster, you have another early warning system.
Oh, nice. That's good to know.
Yeah. It's great to have cell phone living in a plaster house because these walls are so dense, you will not hear people. So it's a very quiet house to live in. You don't get a lot of outside noise. You'll notice it's very peaceful. It's a very just serene feeling to live in a plaster house.
There is, I would agree. We don't hear, and I've never heard any of the sounds of outside while I'm here. And that is hard to come by.
Yeah, the other nice thing about plaster walls is it keeps a lot of those signals bouncing around. It may mean that you have to have a signal booster for your Wi-Fi, but if you're worried about all of those waves bouncing around your house in our modern era, that is something that's wonderful about having plaster walls. I love that air was added to this house early enough that you have these beautiful grates that are not original to the 1800s, but are probably early 1900s. And that's just beautiful to have those.
Yeah, specifically on this butler staircase too. The other thing that's not original to this house is the central vac system. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it's original. Let's go with it's original.
I guess maybe that's why the wood was so well maintained, because they had central vac.
That's right. Yes. So yeah,
no,
so
I think
that's
that's a modern addition, but that is really nice to have. My goodness, they did a lot to keep this house fabulous.
So yeah, so this is that 6th bedroom as we turn around here, and they have turned it into somewhat of a laundry room, which is fantastic because I don't know many people that would need to have 6 bedrooms. So as you can see, this one's kind of interesting because it still has original.
Oh my gosh! Is that? It's vinyl, not vinyl, but the linoleum. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You saved that so that you would get my authentic reaction to it. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and they threw this over it because I think most people would think that it's not appealing, but I think anyone that would, find that historic and Victorian houses are.
I would sit here and carefully removed all of the little tiny paint splatters, and I would make this my office, and I would leave it just as it is.
With a washer and dryer, because that is what this is. It's 2nd floor laundry room.
I would do my laundry in the basement and have a linoleum floor office.
I do actually like this as someone that doesn't know old homes as well as you. This is something that I would absolutely keep because actually, I will say that the houses that are being built with designers, I'm sure you know this from working in that space, people are paying big money for this stuff to be put in right now.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is, I think, in my opinion, the most powerful place of the house because there's so much to be personalized here. The current seller never got to this space. However, it is a space that could be completely finished. So online it says that it's 2,900 square feet. This is an extra 550 that is not included in that. So this finished would be an extra 550 of square footage in this house.
You could make this so many things. You could have a 2nd generation of your family living here. You could have a teen room up here and you would never hear anything they say.
Or master suite, so they would never hear anything that you say.
Yes. I love these doors that go out.
Yeah, and those are still, you can walk out there, still very functionable.
Oh my gosh. So again, so well maintained. We want to get a little bit more oil paint on those. That's something that we can come out. Doug and I bought a lift for our company because we just have so many times that we need to pop over to somebody's house and touch up an area like this. If you drive around a historic neighborhood, you'll often see the whole house has been repainted except for the one little corner that pops out on the 3rd floor. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you finish your 3rd floor. But this is great. They have the window sashes, so these can still be maintained and restored. Even a window that looks like this is worth restoring in your historic house. You will never buy a window of this quality on the open market today. This window has lasted since the 1880s and it'll last another 150 years if it's maintained. So great that they have those sashes. Look at that. These doors are incredible.
So yeah, so these are the doors that the 8 inches were shaved off of the bottom. So these were originally separating that dining room from the living room space. And to keep them and preserve them, they just put them up here. But yeah,
that is incredible. I would be so tempted to move those back downstairs and figure out a way to restore that 8-inch gap or put stained glass up there or something. That is beautiful. You could do a band of that rectilinear style stained glass and have these restored to the 1st floor. It would be wonderful.
Yeah, I think he said that they felt like they were too bulky right there. But the originality of the house, I'm sure when there were servants and whatnot, they needed those.
Yeah.
Here is the doors that go in the room to separate that closet from the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are over here.
So again, there's been some damage to the plaster, but this is something that's really easy to repair. There are Plaster technicians, Hat Trick Restoration does plaster repair work. So there's plenty of opportunity. I would definitely get some insulation up here.
The roof is new, so there's no leaks. So that's obviously
Perfect.
maintaining it. So right now it's just purely on the inside. So yes, it has been stubbed for this to be a bathroom over here. So it is ready to go for the plumbing part, but it has not been finished for that. And I like when places like this are unfinished because then it gives the next buyer a whole space to be creative and whatever their taste is to be able to build it to their satisfaction or whatever it is that they want to do.
I feel like people look at a door like this and they're like, oh, it's too far gone. This is what we do day in and day out at my company, Hat Trick Restoration. This is the projects we love to do.
If you were going to restore this, what would you do?
I would take the door off. I would board up the opening, and then I would bring this back to my workshop. I would strip all of the paint off of it. And then I would either find, actually, I don't even think that this is broken. I think it's just chipped paint. So I would just take off anywhere that looks like there might be rot. Like right here, I would fill this hole with wood epoxy, Avatron. And then we would put a new coat of finishes on it. We would reglaze the windows. Even this plaster that clearly hasn't been repaired has just like minimal cracking to it. And this is where you would see a lot of the damage that takes place. And you can tell that they've had some water damage probably from before they replaced the roof. This is something you can easily just plaster over, or you can leave the brick exposed. We often leave exposed brick and just seal the brick.
Yeah, I mean, the exposed brick is not going to hurt the house. That's beautiful. Yeah, would you leave that lath up there?
I would put in insulation, and then I would either restore the lath and plaster. I might leave the plaster. I would kind of ask the homeowner what they want to do, because this curve is really nice, and you could cut the plaster and feather in drywall, but I would put as much insulation as I could in that space and then cover it with either plaster or drywall, because you don't have anything sound above this space. If it were my house, I would restore the plaster after putting in insulation.
Yeah, that would be important.
Yeah.
Or it's going to get expensive.
And another thing that you want to do in your historic home is not use spray foam insulation. Spray foam is death to old houses. You need to use insulation that breathes. Old houses are meant to breathe. The plaster breathes, the wood breathes, everything breathes. So you need to have that moisture be able to go somewhere. Spray foam doesn't allow that, and it rots your wood.
Okay, all right, now we're in the basement. Laundry room. This is going to be the first thing that blows anybody away, only because of the pure fact that no Victorian house has this kind of basement, because this is definitely not original to the house. This was redone in 1994. They actually picked up the house, redid all of the basement, and then put the house back on it. And so this is something that's obviously...
This is a huge selling point.
Yeah.
Not only because it doesn't look like a crypt, like literally I have to duck in my basement and I'm only 5'8". Not because the ceilings aren't tall enough, but because of the spider webs that hang down. So first of all, you don't have a bunch of spider webs down here because it's not all old basement. This is a brand new, 1994 is brand new in my world.
Well, it's brand new for the space of the house, yes.
So this is a wonderful opportunity to have a workroom. It looks like you've got egress windows if you wanted to create another living space down here.
Yeah, it has its own entrance over there.
Yep.
Here's all of the original screened-in porch stuff. So they definitely kept all of this. Let's explore what this is.
I think this is a wonderful opportunity to have. I don't think the porch was screened in, but I do think that they had a beautiful wraparound porch. Yes. These are incredible because even though it doesn't look like you have enough to finish the entire wraparound porch, this is what you can use to recreate that out of architectural salvage. So you have all of the kind of architectural notes of what the house should look like.
There's a central vac system, original to the house.
And that's where your plumbing is halfway up the house. And then you also have a bathroom down here, which is wonderful.
Yes. Your husband is an engineer. And when he was down here with us, he had told us that when this basement was done, it is very engineer built.
Yes.
This over here is probably because there was a squeaky floorboard.
A squeaky
or
floor,
upstairs.
like just, old houses, the floors creak. This is a way to solve some of your creaky floor problems. But you can tell that the house has been engineered because the beams are not all one size fits all. They have been calculated. So like there's different size beams for the different parts of the house. So this has definitely been done right. It's been done beautifully.
So this bathroom is definitely original to the house too.
Yes, we love our original plumbing in the 1880s. This is a beautifully maintained house. This was one of the reasons that I initially found this house was we were repainting our house and we have the same brackets, the corbels on our house. And I love how they finished these with the metallic paint, and it's just such a beautiful paint job.
Yeah, I actually love how they painted it, but some people have said that the feedback has been that they would paint the house, probably to modernize it. But I think that's going to ruin the character of the house if we were to take that away, because I think it brings a lot of character.
I love the colors that they picked, and I don't think I would change a thing. You do, if you want to get historic tax credits and grant money, you do have to maintain a historic appropriate color, but there is a lot of flexibility with that. But I mean, this kind of a paint job is so expensive because you pay every time you change a color. So to have 1, 2, 3, 4 colors just on the field of the house is incredible. I would not change this. I would maintain what you have here and just keep going with it. The gutters are looking great. They've really done a beautiful job.
Now, as we come over here and we talk about, there's that central air unit, which is fantastic for the house. The gables and the
Stick-style Victorian. So this is what I was talking about with how I know that there was a porch at one point, because if you look, this would have been in that butterscotch color. The vertical trim work is what would have been original. That's what would have gone there. But then when you come around the back of the house, they don't have that vertical trim. So you see the butterscotch color went across, but they've put regular siding there. I think there was a porch that went all the way across the back of this house, as well as around the side, which I'm just realizing now, because I had looked at the house on this side, and if you look here, I think that there was some sort of porch structure across the back, and that is why you don't have the vertical trim work like you do at the top of the house at this second band of butterscotch trim. Then you have the vertical trim that comes around here. So the porch would have come out here, but then I wonder if you had a small porch off the back side here. I would be so curious to see your Sanborn maps, because when you come up to this part of the house, that trim has been changed. So I think coming off of this part of the house, you would have had a porch that wrapped around all the way to the front of the house, because you see that trim is modern. It's not the historic trim. So I think you would have had a porch up here that would have come all the way around to the front, and you can see the footings, 1, 2, and then there's one up by the front. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice this until now. That fascia is like curved in. What an incredible piece of architecture. My goodness. This house is incredible. I mean, I can see this house being fully restored with the wraparound porch and like a garage that looks like a barn. Like you could, this is an incredible. I'm talking myself into buying it. It's really stunning. I love it. The front doors are so detailed.
I mean,
so
I just don't even know
beautiful.
where you could find this. Do you see how on that, first of all, the beauty of the
brackets,
yeah,
the brackets and corbels.
yeah.
They're stunning. Oh, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.